Page 186. Did you know that TARP was short for tarpaulin? I didn't, but I feel like the older generation was better educated on this, because on this page Gipe has Doc see Lorraine standing outside and throw a heavy tarpaulin over the DeLorean. I'm not sure if this is old man-itis or me just not knowing words. It feels a little like calling a factory a manufactory. As in, technically correct but insanely old-fashioned. But maybe it's just me. Old man-itis status, maybe? In the book we don't get Doc's awesome Marty what the heck are you doing look pictured, unfortunately, but we do get Doc and Marty agreeing that Lorraine must have tracked Marty down. Somehow. Marty opens the door for her, reasonably concluding that if she followed him there, she'd know he was inside. He calls her,
Mom, I mean, Lorraine.
Which is awful and dumb. In a different non-book scene in the movie Marty says,
Look, you're not gonna be picking a fight, Dad. Daddy-o.
Which is a reasonably smooth recovery that George can reasonably ignore, but here in the book Marty calls a girl who likes him Mum and she just straight out ignores it. Go ahead, call that special non-mom lady in your life Mum tonight and see if she lets it pass without comment. If so, I don't know, keep it up I guess. So at this point Marty now has to introduce Doc to Lorraine. You can do this the cute way or the charmless way. Movie went for cute.
Oh, this is my, Doc. My uncle. Doc. Brown.
Hi.
Hi.
It's cute because we get that Marty is bad at keeping his cross-temporal identities straight thing without being Mom I mean Lorraine clunky. In contrast of course, the book went for charmless.
Marty, oh. This is my Uncle Brown. Lorraine, Uncle Brown? Doc, Emmett. Lorraine, hi.
That's their entire exchange. It adds nothing and I'm not entirely sure Lorraine, who is supposed to be nervous about even being here, would think to care about Uncle Brown's first name. But it does teach us a writing tip: if you've got a necessary but lifeless scene, it doesn't hurt to add some character humor to it. At this point Lorraine takes a deep breath and launches into her prepared will you ask me to the enchantment under the sea dance, Marty? Speech in Dutto. Was Marty ready for this?
Marty should have been prepared for the proposal but somehow was not.
Book Marty, not what you would call competent. Pages 187 to 188. Lorraine asks Marty to go to the dance with him. These 2 pages get taken care of real quick in the movie.
Wow, you mean nobody's asked you?
No, not yet.
What about George?
George McFly? Oh, he's kind of cute and all, but not. Well, I think a man should be strong so he can stand up for himself and protect the woman he loves. Don't you?
Yeah.
Then it cuts to George and Marty talking about how Marty's now taking her to the dance. Pretty tight. We realize that Marty's been put into a tight spot and can't really say no to her, and fill in all the blanks ourselves. But what if we didn't want to fill in those blanks? What if we wanted every single detail about this exchange? What if, okay haha I'll stop teasing. Yes. Of course the book describes this scene with lots and lots of words. It begins as Lorraine asks Marty to the dance and Marty clears this throat nervously and glances down at his feet. Which foot? His right foot. Yes, of course it's specified. Then most of the next 2 pages is taken up with Marty and Lorraine back and forth on why he can't go to the dance, which I will now summarize as briefly as possible, but guys, it's pretty hard. Marty says he can't go because he twisted his ankle running. Lorraine says he walked home fine. Marty says yeah, but it'll be bad tomorrow and he'll be in bed for a week. Lorraine says she doesn't believe him and starts to cry. Marty says okay, really he's just a lousy dancer. Lorraine says they don't have to dance, but anyone who has Marty's skate moves must be good with his feet. Marty mentally agrees that yep, he's awesome. Marty suggests she go with George instead. Lorraine says she knew he'd say that. Marty says that's good because there's chemistry between them. Lorraine says she feels more chemistry with him, and besides she already turned George down. Marty demands,
You did what?
He asks if she knows how much courage that took George. It was like skydiving or getting into the ring with Muhammad Ali. Lorraine doesn't know who that is. Doc says Rocky Marciano. More sports. Lorraine says she can't worry about that George isn't her type, and finally she gets to the I think a man should be strong and protect the woman he loves line and asks Marty, don't you? Don't I what? Says Marty, extending this out even longer. Marty, are you doing this on purpose? Lorraine gets mad and demands a yes or no answer, and it had better be yes, because if Marty doesn't take her to the dance nobody will. Doc says,
Looks like she really wants to go with you, boy.
Marty says yes. Phew, we're done. This version does make it clear that taking Lorraine is his only choice, but it's not really needed. I don't think anyone watched the movie and thought, oh man, secretly Marty wants to take Lorraine. And the gentle pressure of movie Lorraine is way more effective, and better for the character, keeping her sweet but determined. Compared to her outright emotional manipulation here, what with the crying and the ultimatums. The page ends with Marty saying,
Oh God, now I have to convince my father to go stag.
Doc says maybe he can take someone else, and Marty says,
Doc, you may be a genius with flux capacitors and electricity and space-time continuums, but when you say I have to find another girl for that nerd at this late date, you're really asking the impossible.
Ha ha, yep, Book Marty's still calling his dad a nerd every chance he gets.